1845, two of the world's most advanced ships of their time, the HMS Erebus and the aptly named HMS Terror, set sail from England on a mission to find the Northwest Passage. The crew was led by Sir John Franklin, an experienced sailor at 59 years of age, who was no stranger to the Arctic. The crew was of 129 men, and they carried enough provisions to last 3 years. They were outfitted with cutting-edge technology. Their boats had reinforced hulls, steam engines for propulsions, and heating systems to fend off the brutal cold. But when the men entered the icy expanse of the Arctic 14 months after leaving England, the unthinkable happened. The ships became trapped, locked in a frozen tomb that refused to release them. What happened remained a mystery for years, until one of the many rescue expeditions sent uncovered journals hidden under rocks and the scattered remains of the deceased. Over the years, scientists have been able to put together the last moments of this expedition, and somewhere before Baffin Island, around July of 1845, they run into the whaling ship the Enterprise and the Prince of Wales. These two ships are the last two to ever see the crew alive. By late August, the ships reach Beechy Island, a sheltered area where Franklin decided to anchor for the winter of 1845. It's here the expedition would suffer the loss of the first men. 3 would perish to an unknown and mysterious illness, having no choice but to push on, and with the return of sunlight in the spring of 1846, the ice began to break. The expedition would resume its push westward. Franklin took his journal and started scribbling down notes about weather and the ship's position. He paused, pen hovering above the page, and wrote,
"The season closes in, and the ice forms around us faster than expected, but spirits remain high. We must press on."
And within days, the Arctic made its intentions unmistakably clear. The men awoke one morning to Erebus and Terror held fast in a sheet of solid ice. The ship had become stuck about 120 kilometers off of King William Island, which is a remote, pretty much desolate island in the middle of nowhere. And to make matters worse, some of the sailors were starting to show symptoms that couldn't be ignored. Swollen gums, unusual fatigue, and a pervasive sense of weakness that seemed to suck out all their energy. But as the months wore on and the ice refused to melt, cracks began to form in the group's morale. The summer of 1846 came and went with no thought, and the realization sank in: the Erebus and Terror were not going anywhere. Now, for 2 years, the Erebus and Terror have been trapped in that dense ice pack off of King William Island, locked in an unyielding Arctic ice. During this time, men would continue to fall ill from a combination of a mystery illness, starvation, malnutrition, and anything Mother Nature threw at them, including the ship's captain, Franklin himself. After his death, Francis Crozier takes over command of the ship. It's here they're at their most desperate moment, out of supplies after years at sea with absolutely nowhere to go. After hours of discussion, Crozier finally gives the order they're going to abandon the ships. They would carry what they could, including the lifeboats, what they put on sledges, and they filled it with provisions and tools that they could use to survive. They would attempt to make it southwards towards a place called Back River. At the time that they had left the 2 ships behind, 29 men had already passed away from starvation and the illness, and the remaining 105 would make their way across the Arctic ice. The last known days of the crew in this expedition were ones faced by absolute starvation and illness, and a few of the men even tried to leave markers of their passing, small cairns or stone piles where they could record notes from the expedition. Despite multiple rescue attempts from England, the fate of the crew would remain unknown for over 100 years. But slowly, what's been put together is that the men succumbed to the cold temperatures and starvation, one by one, as they tried to make their way towards Back River. Horrifyingly, some of the discoveries included finding human bones with cut marks and evidence of cooking, showing that the men had to desperately resort to cannibalism. If you want to hear the full version of the story, click the link in video.